The Celtics are entering a decisive moment of the season, and the next few days may quietly redefine everything. At first glance, Boston does not look like a team desperate to act at the trade deadline. There is internal confidence, there is roster continuity, and above all there is the belief that the return of Jason Tatum from injury could feel like the most impactful mid-season addition possible. But confidence does not erase uncertainty, and right now uncertainty is exactly what surrounds this roster. Before we go any further, if you want to stay ahead of every urgent Celtics update, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the hype button right now. That support helps this coverage reach more fans who want real information, not noise. With the trade deadline just 1 week away, the Celtics face a question they cannot postpone. How long can they wait on Tatum when his Achilles recovery timeline is still unclear? Boston is competing in the Eastern Conference, but competing is not the same as controlling your destiny. Standing still can be just as risky as making the wrong move. This is where Anfernee Simons enters the conversation, and not as a rumor pulled from thin air. According to ESPN insiders Tim Bontemps and Brian Windhorst, Simons has emerged as the most logical contract the Celtics could move. His deal expires at the end of the season and carries a value of $27 million, a number that matters far more than his box score. That salary gives Boston flexibility, leverage, and the ability to match money in a trade without dismantling the core. The Celtics are not positioning themselves for a blockbuster. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Jaren Jackson Jr. are not realistic targets in this framework. Instead, the focus appears to be frontcourt depth, size, and functional help that fits the existing system. Simons is not being pushed out the door, and internally, he has still provided value in specific stretches. That is precisely what makes this decision difficult. He is useful, but his contract might be even more useful. Boston is walking a narrow line between patience and opportunity. Wait too long, and the market disappears. Act too fast, and you risk solving the wrong problem. The money tied to Simons may ultimately be the key that unlocks a move, even if that move is not obvious yet. And this is where the urgency truly begins. If the Celtics believe in their title window right now, can they afford to let a $27 million expiring contract simply run out? Or is the possible dismissal of Anfernee Simons the quiet move that changes everything before it is too late? Celtics are winning, but the numbers do not tell the whole story. Boston sits with a record of 30 wins and 18 losses, tied for second place in the Eastern Conference, exceeding many preseason expectations. Still, inside the organization, there is a clear understanding that this run is fragile. Jason Tatum's return remains uncertain, and without clarity on his timeline, the frontcourt depth issue becomes impossible to ignore. Winning now does not guarantee control later, and that reality is shaping difficult conversations behind the scenes. One proposal gaining traction around the league comes from fan-sided analyst Christopher Klein. And it is not a small swing. The idea is simple in concept but heavy in consequence. The Celtics could move Anfernee Simons and a first-round pick in the 2026 draft in exchange for Draymond Green and Anfernee Melt. On paper, it is a move that attempts to solve two problems at once: defense and experience. Draymond Green is not just another veteran name. He is a four-time NBA champion, a former Defensive Player of the Year, and a 9-time All-Defensive selection. His relationship with Golden State has shown visible strain in recent seasons, not necessarily because of desire to leave, but because his on-court impact no longer fully offsets the distractions that follow him. That context matters. It suggests availability, not decline. From Boston's perspective, the appeal is clear. Green's contract includes a player option worth just under $28 million, making this a limited commitment of roughly 1.5 seasons. In a league filled with inflated long-term deals, that flexibility is valuable. His offensive numbers this season are modest, just over 8 points per game with solid passing, but offense is not the reason the Celtics would make this call. They want a defensive anchor. They want someone who organizes the backline, communicates, and raises the floor of playoff intensity. Anfernee Melton quietly adds another layer. A guard who defends, moves without the ball, and fits into winning basketball without demanding usage. That matters for a team already built around stars. Here is where the urgency sharpens. Trading Simons is not just about talent, it is about timing. His value as a movable contract, combined with Boston's immediate needs, creates a narrow window. Waiting risks losing leverage, Acting risks committing to a personality that changes the locker room dynamic. So the real question is no longer whether this trade makes sense on paper. The question is whether the Celtics believe that adding Draymond Green and De'Anthony Melton is the move that stabilizes a title run right now, or whether holding Anfernee Simons is safer while the clock quietly runs out. Are the Celtics prepared to make a decision this bold before the season forces one on them? Boston Celtics are once again at the center of the league's attention as the trade deadline approaches, and this time the conversation feels heavier, with the 5th of February fast approaching. Brad Stevens is being watched closely by executives around the NBA. Expectations entering the season were modest, but reality changed quickly. Even without Jason Tatum for long stretches, and after moving on from Kristaps Porzingis and Jrue Holiday, Boston has positioned itself as a real contender in the Eastern Conference. That success has shifted the mindset from patience to opportunity internally. One priority has become clear: the Celtics are searching for stability and impact at the center position, not just a short-term fix, but a piece who can matter now and still make sense years from today. That narrows the field significantly, and it is why one name keeps resurfacing in league circles: Miles Turner. According to Celtics on SI analyst John Corrales, Turner is a player worth monitoring closely. His situation in Milwaukee has not developed as planned. The Bucks committed to him in the offseason with the hope of stabilizing the franchise during a turbulent moment around Giannis Antetokounmpo. That plan appears to be cracking. When a team starts to reassess its direction, contracts once viewed as cornerstones suddenly become trade assets. From a basketball standpoint, Turner checks boxes Boston has been unable to fill consistently. He provides elite rim protection, something the Celtics have lacked at key moments this season. He also stretches the floor with legitimate three-point shooting, forcing defenses to respect him far beyond the paint. That combination matters in the postseason, where spacing and defensive discipline are non-negotiable. Turner is not a rental. He is under contract for 4 years at a total value of $108.8 million. That kind of deal demands confidence, but at 29 years old, he aligns perfectly with the competitive window of this roster. Playing alongside Tatum and Jaylen Brown next season and beyond, Turner would not need to be a focal point. He would need to be reliable, physical, and decisive. Here is where urgency tightens. Boston must weigh cost against consequence. Acquiring Turner would require a serious package, and his contract is not small, but Brad Stevens has never shied away from aggressive decisions when he believes the moment is right. Standing still has its own price. As the deadline closes in, speculation will only intensify. The Celtics are buyers, the Bucks may be sellers, and Miles Turner sits directly at the intersection of need and opportunity. If Milwaukee makes him available, does Boston push its chips forward and secure the center who could anchor this team for years, or do they hesitate and risk watching that window close? If you want every urgent update on this story, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the hype button now. And ask yourself this: if the Celtics truly believe they can win, can they afford to let a player like Miles Turner slip away when the moment demands action?